Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. How about yourself?
Oh, I am doing so good. We've had just an amazing week. Tons of great things coming out. Very excited to talk about all this stuff. Plus, I have the day off, so I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So
You don't ever
I'm
take a
excited about
day off.
I know, I know,
Maybe your
I know. My
main.
wife said, aren't you taking the day off? I said, yeah. She goes, why are you up so early? I said, live stream. She goes, that's not a day off. There's no day without there's no good day without data.
That's
So
true, right? Everything starts somewhere. So, but you might just be able to do a few other type of things and not have a client or a boss breathing down your neck, knowing that you're going to get
yes,
interrupted with something. So,
yes. And good morning to everyone. Good morning to everybody.
I'm an
Uh
ass, and if
oh,
it
are we
reversed,
reversed?
yeah. Do you like that better? That's fine.
There you go. Sorry, I'm on.
I think I'm a little close. My camera's a little zoomed in, I guess, today. Let me back that off a little
It's all right.
bit too.
It's all good.
Yeah, we're good.
Well, yeah, we can back that off if you want a little bit, yeah.
Oh, and it turns my TV
Screws.
on.
Oh. Well,
The
hey,
joys of
before we
technology.
get started, and I do want to hear if what you're doing this weekend, post in the chat in the channel. There's a huge event going on this weekend. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but our friend Christina Hughes is getting married
Oh,
tomorrow.
that's right.
So please, everyone, head over to her social media. You can find her on Twitter on Data Dragoness. You can find her on LinkedIn. Um, all that good stuff. Oh crap. Do wish her a do congratulate her. This is a big weekend. I know she's been planning that uh, for a long time. You are good to go. All right. Uh, yes, and we will have Johnny's. Well, so a few things from the chat. Johnny will be a moderator. He might be right now if Johnny hits on something, but there is Johnny's article. It is fantastic. We will be hitting on that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we got a lot to get into today. I'm going to share my screen because we're just going to jump right into it. Do let us know what you're doing in the chat, where you're coming from. Anything exciting that you're working on would be good to get into. Um, but we got a lot to do today, so let's head over to my desktop. All right, so first things first. There's been an update to the One Lake File Explorer. This is fantastic. What it does, and you should honestly go and enable this right away. There's two things that it does. Uh, or number one is it allows for you to view items online. So you could just go from within the file folder itself. So if I go into my lake house, my One Lake, I can right click on it, go to One Lake, and say view workspace online, and it will take me right to the workspace that item is in. So there's no
Hmm.
it's really easy to get there and back again. So
That's
super
good
easy.
navigation.
Right. And then it allows for easy access to your logs directory. So if you're trying to trace issues or have problems with something that's going on inside of One Lake or inside of one of your flows, you can enable tracing. Oops. You can enable tracing, and you can open the logs directory from here. So great new feature. All right. Uh, and I should post the link out to this so you guys can take a look at it. It's fantastic.
Have you looked at what the tracing provides you?
I have not. Have you had
No,
a
I
chance?
haven't. This is all new to me. I've been engrossed in other stuff all week, so
I
I'm learning
understand.
just like everybody else today. So bear with me, but we'll we'll
No
we'll
problem.
get deeper into it. So
Yeah,
that's fine.
this
That's
is all new to everyone,
yeah.
right? And then I think this was a big one because everyone is talking about large language models. How do you use Chat GPT effectively? Like if you saw the live stream on Wednesday, on Inja got really into how you can leverage uh leverage Chat GPT and all these new AI tools to help advance your work. It's exciting because clearly it's not going to replace our job as of yet. But this is a great article that outlines how you can use the semantic kernel, Microsoft Fabric, to use those large language models and like Chat GPT type capabilities to interact with data, and you can do it inside of Fabric. And this has got the entire like architectural diagram. It even goes lower into like that actual app development, and then it's even has like a step-by-step instruction of how to like get in and create this stuff, like even with code and real detailed examples inside of here. So I have not had a chance to do it yet, to use this yet, but when this came out just like 4 days ago, I was pretty psyched about it because I know this is something a lot of people are talking about. How do you do this? And it's right here already. So
I'm assuming there's nothing talking about if you have to have a certain size capacity or anything to do this, or is it just
no,
all going to be included again?
yeah, I mean, this is all inside your data engineering. It doesn't say anything about capacity. So, I mean, you're going to have to install some of these things to get it up and running. But I mean, there's even a GitHub kernel here or a GitHub link to like go and get the samples for this code repository. So, like, there's a lot just natively here to get you up and running. So, I mean, it's a fantastic, nice little blog that's more than just, it's more than just someone writing something up. There's actual code behind this. So great job, Kinfi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Power BI October feature release was out. So a whole bunch of new things there. I've got a question for everyone. I stopped using the on object because I couldn't get it to work. It was causing. I mean, I tried for like 6 weeks when it first came out, and
I think some of it's muscle memory. Some of it is, I don't know. There's too many. It just, I don't know. It's not intuitive to me. I mean, again, maybe it's because I'm just so used to all the other type of stuff, but I could not. I just couldn't make it work for me to get stuff done fast enough, type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cody says that he hates it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me eventually, but it's just nothing for me right now.
Yeah,
I hear that a lot from people.
Yeah, I think my challenge with a lot of these big revolutionary type changes is that if your minimum viable product doesn't reach a certain threshold on usability, like people will try it for a while and then it gets dropped, and then like you've lost people potentially forever. And like that's a bad thing. And so like honestly, for the people, and I see the need for this. I would love to not have to like constantly go back and forth from the visual to the control pane. That sucks, right? I hate that. But until like the on object is intuitive and it's easy to use, and like you could see the fields, and there were just way too many problems that made it unworkable for me, and that I stopped with.
But I think Amin's point is kind of there, because I did have somebody at one of my older clients where she was brand new to Power BI, and on object just came out. We happened to have one of our POCs, and I did a really short demo on it, and then she reached out. It's like, can you tell me again how to turn that on, because I think that would work better. She thought it would work better for herself than what she was doing in regular desktop. Again, she was brand new to it and everything. So I never had a chance to follow back with her on it, but it's, I do think that's a valid point, Amin, is that some people that are brand new to it don't have the muscle memory or whatever, because it's supposed to be closer to what you have like in PowerPoint or something like that. Maybe it's going to make more sense to them. I don't know.
And I do agree with Johnny, and it's one of those things where like you have to give it an honest try, right? Like I tried for 6 weeks. at no point in time in that 6 weeks was I like, yeah, this is the end. This is incredible. It was like, all right, I just got to learn this. I just couldn't get through it. And it was, now I do want to come back and revisit it, but you can only invest 6 weeks every once in a while on something. So, I'm going to hang off until I hear from peers saying like, hey, yeah, it's better. It's good again. You could give it another shot. Right. And so,
you just have to grasp the nettle.
yes.
I love how we get all the different sayings and things I haven't heard before. So
I do want to call out a word of warning on this one. Uh, Kevin, have you attempted this one as of yet?
no, and I don't plan on it. I have never been one to like the whole, even the previous OneDrive, integration, or pushing up the SharePoint and having it come up to the, so no, I don't really look at it.
Yeah. Good morning, Paul. Good morning.
And yet, yes, Johnny, I think it's a UK thing. I have never heard it, but it doesn't mean others in the US haven't. So thanks for introducing a new saying to me today.
Yes. So I'm going to just, before we move on, and I do want to move on because we got a lot to get into on Data Activator, I want to call out a word of warning on this one. When I enabled this, I ended up having to uninstall Power BI and reinstall it to get Power BI to work again. It caused, I don't know what the issue was inside of my Windows when this was on, but I couldn't launch Power BI. So like, big words of warning here. Uninstalling and reinstalling it, like I had to clear the cache to remove like all of my preview features settings. Like it was more than a little bit of a pain. So just be careful around this one. I think this one needs some updates to get it to work. So maybe in a month or two. So, all right, let's keep going here.
I am interested in the dedupe on the composite models, right? I'm going to dig into deep into that one, but we don't have to go further than that. It's another good. There's probably a ton of other features. We only made it through the first third of that page. So
we didn't even get through all of the reporting features. So I just know that it's out there and know this is something that should be available.
But today is activation day.
Yes, today is Data Activator. So just quick touch on the on-premise gateway is out. There's some releases there. So I think this adds new performance, and there's a new PowerShell commandlet. Oh, interesting.
That's a little small. Is it a PowerShell commandlet to, that had a gateway to a interesting.
Oh, so that means you can programmatically define and manage your gateways. That's pretty cool. All right. I haven't done that much. But today we are talking Data Activator. And if you're not familiar with Data Activator, let me share this out with you guys. Kevin, you want to give a rundown what Data Activator is?
I could read it from the So it's, I think I kind of like how Johnny put it in his article as well. I know, let's see. Johnny's introduction is, it's the newest experience added to Microsoft's unified software as a service platform fabric. So what is it? It activates data, right? Good job. Johnny said he had fun writing this article, and it comes through in this article too. So
yeah.
But kind of you
well,
share your screen.
I really like really like his LinkedIn graphic here about Data Activator. That, I mean, it is super cool. So it is fantastic. Yeah, we'll go over to your screen because you'll take it from here.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, let me kind of go back to Microsoft's actual introduction, right? And so from some of the demos that we've seen from Microsoft and stuff like that, it's basically going to be a good way to help monitor your data, define rules in a no-code experience, right? So kind of in your old, again, working from the business side back to technology rather than the technology side over to business. To define these rules, and Activator will monitor your data. When it sees these rules get enabled, it's going to take an action. And you could define a lot of different actions for it to do, right? As simple as sending an email, right? But you have here some common use cases. Maybe I should make that just a little bit bigger. Because I thought some of this was kind of interesting, the use cases that they put out there, right? So you see that same store sales are declining, right? So you could automatically run ads, right? And because it can integrate with other products, I'm assuming through APIs or whatever, right? You could tell it, you don't have to say send an email to Joe and Joe goes starts the ad. You already have the ad kind of defined, and maybe through the API, you're just going to give it the right parameters or whatever, and then it automatically kicks that off. You probably would send an email as well to know that this type of stuff is happening, but it's that type of thing to get the right action to occur. And I don't want to use the word eliminate, but that's what came to mind first. Maybe minimize how much a human has to get into the middle of it, right? Things that you've already decided, let's get it fully automated. So the next one, the use case is just an alert, right? The example of, you have freezers at a grocery store, something starts to fail, it's going to give you an alert, pretty quickly on that. Let's see, retain customers that had a bad experience, tracking their journey through apps, websites. So, automatically watching your data and seeing that things are getting worse, your performance getting worse on a website. I had somebody going through that just the other day, and it took us a while to find it. So,
Well, I think it's important to recognize, like the great thing about Activator and automation is that it takes you up to the point where we allow computers to do what computers are good at, and then hand over to humans when you need humans. Like, I don't really know. I mean, I guess when robots start to become more predominant and androids and all that stuff, but like it said in here, like, when a freezer is about to have issues, right, and you want to move stuff out of that so it doesn't spoil, like, you need humans to go out and physically do something. You need a service team to be updated and to send someone on site to take care of that, right? Like, that ensures that the humans that are out there doing things are doing it just in time to address any issues, and you're not having to wait for someone to notice that there's an issue, right?
yeah. And
And that's huge.
yeah, I think in the freezer one too, when we were kind of talking about this early on, um, the concept came out, and I never really thought about it because I'm not involved in stores and stuff. But those freezers at some stores, you could, even though they all look the same, they could be different manufacturers, different parts or something, right? But if you got data coming in from them, now you know specifically which one it is that went out, and you could know and it could maybe trigger the right service agreement that you have, the right repair person, because it may not always be the same repair person, right? So it could make these type of things even faster because you got to get a different type of part or something. So yeah, it's all very interesting. I do think, again, a lot of us that are kind of closer to it, we'll kind of jump into it prior to other type of things. So we may be looking at things that are data quality issues, things that hit use cases that we do day in, day out. So we can learn the the how, right? What the clicks and everything in order to do it, and then teach the business to put it together for their rules. I don't know. Do you see any of your particular use cases right away that you're going to get to this besides monitoring what you do in a data environment?
Well, I think, and as we start to get into this, you're going to see that this isn't something that is just for people in IT to do,
Right.
right? In fact, this is a low code space where, frankly, there is a lot of demand and ask for okay, yeah, you gave me all these great reports, but I don't have time to go look at all of them. You gave me 100 reports. Maybe I have an opportunity to look at 2 or 3 a week. But when I look at them, I say, okay, when I see these types of behaviors, these are the responses and actions I want to take. Because as a business user, I know my field, I know my area of expertise, I know what my sales cycle is, or I know what my product development cycle is, or I know what things should be done from here. I want to be able to automatically drive that from within my reporting or analytics space. I don't want to have to talk to you in order to do that, because it's going to change, it's going to shift, and we're going to all of a sudden there's going to be something that occurs today that's going to suddenly make us like, oh, we've got to have this new process in place, and I want to be able to either myself or someone on my team to be able to go in and do this, and that's where Activator just transforms the game, because now it's that person in marketing, now it's that person in sales, now it's that person in operations who creates that automation, not just someone in ID, right? Or IT, right?
Yeah. All right, so
Yeah,
let's kind
yeah.
of
Let's
get
keep
through,
going. Yeah.
some of the core concepts here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this one, and I'm going to bounce back and forth to Johnny's article. When I read it a little bit this morning, he in his article, again, I think we've posted into the chat 1 or 2 times. He also pointed out some, which is not totally unsurprising, some wording inconsistencies while going through things, right? So just kind of be aware of that. So the first concept here we have are events, and Data Activator looks at anything coming into it, calling them streams. They're streams of events. So I would say probably most of us are going to start. Johnny's article shows setting up an event stream and then bringing in that data. I would say probably the majority of us will start by trying to pull in something we see in Power BI. This last line in that second paragraph, right? Even though that Power BI data set might only happen, the refresh might happen once a day or even once a week, to Activator, that's just a slowly changing event stream, right? So it's watching for the Power BI data set to be refreshed, getting that new data out of it and seeing if something has changed from the rules that you've written. It's just doing it slower than a regular event stream like we just talked about, a freezer or something like that, to where that's closer to the Internet of Things, right? It's just always sending data over from its monitoring. Okay, so the next one is objects, right? So then once you have event data coming in, you're going to define your business objects, right? And those are going to represent the physical things that you want to monitor. So you're going to, it sounds like you could be able to actually change, by including different properties or whatever, you're going to come up with other type of objects. Maybe we'll get confused on what is a table versus what is an object, because I'm assuming it'll be things that we'll kind of put together from multiple tables, right? Even the fact tables and things like that. And so it'll come out as a different object when you're looking at it from that way. So we're going to be defining a new thing, right? And then an object instance, right, means the specific thing, right? So we're talking freezers, the specific freezer, and where the object itself is its definition. Were there any questions on that? Don't say business objects. You said
you and me both, Johnny. You and me both.
Did I say that, or was he just warning me? I don't think I said that word.
Well,
Maybe I did.
Yeah, it's
it's right here.
object.
It's right here.
Yeah.
I probably read it from there.
Yeah, it is a triggering and chilling reference.
Yeah, well, we'll give that feedback to him, because this is confusing with old software. All right. So once you define your objects, the things that you're looking at, You're going to define triggers, right? So those are going to be your conditions, the rules. What is it that you're looking at and want to see when those conditions are met? And then when that trigger activates, it's always for a specific object. And I wanted to be very careful that I read it that way. So we always get a little distracted. That's okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. I love it from the chat. So like, again, the example being used through this documentation is you have a specific freezer, right? So we have a definition of freezers. A specific freezer is, one instance of that object. And now it's determined that it's too warm, and the email is being sent to the relevant technician. All right, so properties, we'll get through the last of all of this. Properties, when we want to reuse logic across multiple triggers, we could define properties. Yeah, there's not a lot of documentation on what we're doing there, is there? So we might have to get into the demo to see it a little bit more. I like to find a property that smooths out the temperature reading over an hour period. And then you could use that smooth value in many triggers. Okay. So that's interesting, because you may want to have something to look at the average of the temperature or something like that, because maybe it does fluctuate a little bit, but on average, if it stays at one place, and maybe that's what a property is. So we'll have to look at that as we get into
it. Imagine, like, take the freezer example. It's always supposed to be, it's a deep freezer, so it's always supposed to be negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the average it's supposed to be. But when people are loading it, right, and so the doors open, and for an hour items are flowing into that freezer, it's understood that temperature is going to rise up to X degrees, and that's perfectly acceptable. Or well, maybe not an hour, but the 15 minutes that they're loading,
right.
Then it levels back down to negative 10 as soon as they close it, and get that up and running, right?
Or like in one of those commercials, right? Somebody trying to get the free air conditioning because it's really hot in Texas that day.
Texas has different commercials than that.
Oh, maybe that's a local commercial of somebody standing in front of the freezer going, "It's free air conditioning." It's not untrue. So,
all right. Well, let's keep going. I think we want to get onto the demo here, right?
Yeah. So let's jump. Oh, that's still the introduction. The tutorial. I thought I had the tutorial somewhere. Okay. So our normal prereqs, right? You got to have, a fabric workspace. So we're going to create a sample reflex. And Johnny points that out, that a lot of this information, it's called data activator, but they're calling the install of it reflex. So if we come over to Power BI, I have a workspace that I call new activator test. And you come up to the home part and you change your persona to data activator, you will see these two items you could add. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I'm going to say reflex sample preview. And every time, even though I already have this onto a workspace, it tells me it needs to assign it. That's okay. So now it's going to start creating it. So I went ahead and did that already into a different workspace. You see here it named the item, just it gave it a timestamp and everything. You can see it's over in my now activator workspace. And we're seeing the objects. Oops, I thought that would have collapsed there. So we have objects of packages. We have events. I don't see that we have properties defined. Maybe that's somewhere else. And, maybe this is cold for me. I have not gone through this tutorial. So, if there's advice from the chat, I see Johnny said he's got to take off, but we'll just kind of keep stepping through it and see what happens from there.
This is everyone's learning through this. Other than Johnny, I don't know. I only know 3 other people that have done this. So let's walk through this together, and we'll learn. We'll learn together, right?
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Explore the package. Let's see. Oh, and go through the data tab. These events show real-time status of packages that are in process. So let's kind of look through some of that. So down at the bottom, we have this design tab and we have a data tab. So we're going to look through the data tab. You can see it says it's listening for the events. May take a minute. We're showing some events down here every 5 minutes. Yeah. Oh, and then here's kind of our raw data. So that's going to display to us as if it's a table, which is always good. You could see some of the things within there, the attributes for it. We also, let's see, so package delivery attempt, so whether when a package was tried to be delivered, package shipped. Okay, so these are, you know, I guess the objects, the things that, it just says assigned to new object. So these are events that are coming in is what it's being named rather than the objects. Okay, so we explored it. Hopefully through the tutorial, let's see, explore the package object in the design mode. Okay, so the first were package events. That's what we saw in the data mode. That's our data coming in, calling them events. When we assign them to an object, that's in our design mode. So now back in design mode, we see the package object. We could have triggers. Oh, here's properties. The property being city. And the property being special care. Maybe we'll get into editing that a little bit. Oh, okay. These events, right, are what was on our data page. So that connection is now made, right? Here's the 3 things that were over on our data page. It's just now being on the data page. We see all the details. Here, we're just kind of seeing a high level overview of it by time, I guess. Okay.
Oh, and that makes sense because now you can see what the natural patterns are. Because, like, if you want to set alerting, you wouldn't want to set that alerting threshold below where it's constantly hitting, right? Like,
right.
You know, you'd want to catch those exceptions that are inside the data, not just like all those red items, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think these represent different packages. I think that's the package name. If we go back to, right? So if you notice the pattern on this package ID, right? This is the detail of the data.
Yeah.
That this looks like, I think I was looking at package in transit, right? That looks like the pattern. There's a filtering condition over here, right? The last 4 hours, the last 5 minutes. You can see in the last 5 minutes, it's only been a couple packages. And you can see it's moving. So they have it hooked up to some type of event stream or whatever behind the scenes. Okay. So, but I think you're right. It's a way to kind of watch what's going on in your data so you have some type of natural idea of what's going on.
Can we take a second to be exceedingly grateful for this incredible demo that you could just like install and look to see how it's designed to function and how it's supposed to be working, so that when you attempt to set it up and you've created your first ugly baby version of Data Activator, you can kind of compare the two and be like, oh, I don't have the right triggers, or I need to add some properties, or I'm missing some events, and I like this one.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, I do think on all the Fabric demos, I think they've done a good job of putting out learning information, having things plumbed up. The same to me, you know, I got that same feeling from the real-time data. right? The KQL type of stuff that we went through a while ago, right? They took the time to put up a common event stream, something, the taxi data that could just keep streaming in. So you didn't have to do all that other plumbing. You could just focus on what was new, right? So, okay, so we've explored the package events and the package objects. So the data mode and design mode, we have an idea of what those two things are for now. So it's asking us to start the medicine package to warm the trigger. Select the medicine to warm trigger, review the act step, send me a test alert. Okay, so medicine package to warm. I think that was the one that it wanted us to do. Yes. So if we have this here, that 3 buttons just gives it delete as it's coming up. Uh-oh.
What'd you do?
I didn't do it. I just was waiting.
What'd you do? Hey, Richard, what'd you do?
When in
Tommy
doubt,
Boy is one of my absolute favorite movies.
there we go.
There it goes.
Okay, when in doubt, refresh.
Yes.
All right, start, because that's what it asked me to do. And send me a test alert. I did this earlier as well. So you can see we're getting pop-ups down at the bottom. And it's going to take a little bit for this email to come out, but I sent this before our live stream started. This is the email. This is what it looks like. If we click view details, I'm assuming it's going to take us right back into Fabric, and it does, of course. So we could probably just go right back over to here. Let's see where that finalizes us at. Yeah, okay. It just takes us, it took us into this event. And I don't know if that matches. By the way, I just got the next one. So package MFX, whatever. MFX. It doesn't seem to be the exact same. Yeah, now I got to, right, ending with 1220. It didn't filter it down to that exact one. So yeah, I was hoping copy. I was like, come on, give me a little bit of help here. Anyways, all right,
let's
go.
Bill. What the heck?
Pay your bill. Yeah, it's free. What do you expect? I'm not paying anything for any of this stuff. This is my dev tenant, so all right, so let's see. So we have this started. We did a test alert, right? So we have all these different things up here. I guess I could stop if I wanted to, but let's go back through the tutorial. The trigger should fire several times an hour. It says we might have to wait 10 minutes or so to fire. So maybe we'll see if it fires. I'll hear a ding in my ear.
Okay.
And it will see if it fires up by itself now that we have it started. All right, so let's go to step 5 of create a city object, which is interesting because we have a city property, but I don't think we have a city object. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do that. Return to data mode, select package in transit, assign your data. I did just get an email, so assign your data to the ribbon, choose new object city. Okay, let's see if I could do this enough without too much flipping. So we're going to go back to data mode. And already my short-term memory is not working. Package and assign data. Okay. Package in transit, assign data to new object. Choose object name is city. Assign key column, and it was going to be city from there. and then just continue. Okay. So I'm assuming continue means save.
Yep. I'm guessing.
I'll say save and go to design. Okay, so we had package before, and now we have city. So this is our two objects from. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's making a little bit more sense now that I could see more than one. I like it.
Right, because you were just focused on the packages. Now it's all of the packages.
Yeah, and notice a little bit of a difference here, right? I'm gonna knock some of this stuff down, but package as an object takes in data from these three events, where city as an object is only taking in data currently from the one event. So that now that I could compare the two, I could see what this means a little bit more. Okay, great. Let's see what our next step is. We're going to create a trigger on that city object that we just did. Copy this while we're here. Okay, so new trigger is up here. So there's no three dots next to new trigger there. I think we said here it was only delete. So you have to do it from the top ribbon. New trigger. We're going to name it. How many, what am I missing?
Hold on. We're going to take a pause from our regularly scheduled program. Hold on. We're coming right back to you.
Okay. Give me a second to read some of this.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Did you just make that up, or did somebody send that to you?
Powell made that. Oh,
nice.
That is fantastic. Oh, all right. Keep going.
Okay. So we have this little step done. This step one or item one in step 6. So we have this saved in here. In your trigger, select card, select hours in transit, and add to set. Actually, you know what I might do is I'm going to move this over to my other screen and do it a little bit more efficiently. Ooh, now I lost being able to see you. That's okay. Go to design mode. Got that. In your trigger, select card.
So we were following along with Kevin on the screen. Now, in order to get this done right, Kevin is going to be Kevin has gone to doing it on his side screen. So that's okay, Kevin. Keep going, but everyone else follow along on your screen so we can keep up with what Kevin's doing here. So
yeah, because Kevin, let's see. In your triggers, select card, select hours in transit. So I think I'm gonna come here and go with. You should still be able to see my stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, we can see your screen that you're selecting.
Okay, yeah, we're just not seeing how I'm reading the steps. I could make it between the two.
No.
Because I think that gets too small.
Yeah, exactly. That gets too small. Okay. We'd rather see the tech. We can read the stuff on the
package in transit, hours in transit. Okay, and then it looks like it wants us to add.
Select add to set average over time.
So it's going to be the summarize average over time and 1 hour. Yep. And then that should come back and it's going to plot this way. It's going to look different than what's in the instructions, right? So I think we get pretty close because when we look at their instructions, this is what the card should look like. Their plot's going to look different than our plot, but that's okay.
Yeah, because they have there's a different stream pattern going on now than at whatever time it was that they created that.
Yep.
right?
And the detect card, detect whether the average time. All right, so let's start trying to go through some of this. So, okay, we're going to change to.
We're doing good on time, Kevin.
Okay.
You're fine. So.
Okay. So the cards that they're talking about, this is the select card. Now
Mhm.
here's the detect card as we scroll down.
Mm.
That's cool. And logical or numeric. Okay.
Numeric. Yep.
Is greater than and is greater than
5.
5. So we have this each time next to it.
Yeah, on that choose number.
Okay, and then it says number of times. The documentation has this going down. It seems on mine it's going across. Maybe it's just because how big I have my window. Number of times,
Yep.
and then hour.
Okay.
Okay. So that looks, and then right now it has no data to show. But that's fine. Maybe it just needs to run for a while.
Yeah.
Then we say select an action, and our action is going to be email. It's going to automatically put my email in there. We can call it whatever we want. They have something on here. Headline. That's fine with the trigger became met. You put an optional message, do something. What did you say earlier? What did you do? About from Tommy Boy or something?
Yeah. What'd you do?
What did you do?
Richard.
And then do we need to save?
Fat guy in a little coat.
So the demo or the documentation doesn't say to save, but I see save up here, and up here I am going to say save because I feel better when I do a save. Send me a test. So now this looks like what we saw set up before, right? So our trigger's been saved. We could send a test alert. We could start it as what we saw before. Okay, so that's making sense. That was easy. That is the end of their tutorial. Let's look at some of the emails. Okay, so you can see I got all kinds of emails that have come in here. This is again our medicine too warm that we had started and running. This is our demo. We could see the name demo on here. And I like that they have this at the beginning of the email, so you could set up a rule for it, right? To maybe do something else or put it into a folder right away. Whatever you like to do within your email rules. Okay. This was not on purpose. I meant to type do something. But, you do you. Oops. All right. Do we have any good comments or other things from the chat that I haven't been following?
We're doing pretty good here.
Okay. I like this. This is simple, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now that we build one out just a little bit, it makes a whole lot more sense to me. Even when I did the first install, I couldn't figure out, because there was only one object. Seeing two objects, now I get the idea of what their interface is going to have. It's nice. Let's see what else.
We're told we should we should pack up our Surface laptops and do trick or treats at the Boeing factories.
Okay.
Well, they just any of the manufacturers over the last 3 years, supply chain has just been so just entirely screwed that knowing when to respond. I mean, because we went from a just-in-time framework where if you needed a part, you said, okay, I need this part, and you'd have it within an hour.
Right.
From whoever the manufacturer, vendor, whatever it was, right? Like they had that stuff down to a T. To okay, I need these products, and I'm now going to get it sometime in the next 9 to 32 months.
Yeah.
Like that radically changes how you fulfill orders, right? Like you go
Exactly.
from like, hey, I've got an order to I've produced and manufactured that order within 5 hours, even if there's no products on hand, to okay, now we have to figure out based upon what's coming in the building, what are the products we're then going to, what products can be made and what orders can be fulfilled, right? And that's very difficult. This, I think, really helps you like kick off those processes and trigger them, so as they start to come in, you can make the proper responses, right?
Yeah. So kind of looking a little bit more at your actions, right? The only two
Mm-hmm.
actions we seem to have today is email and Teams. And I think Johnny pointed this out in his. We may have to see if Johnny could stay a little bit longer and join us one of these days.
Yeah.
He always has a lot of good content. But this custom actions, I'm assuming that'll be coming later on. That's going to be really interesting to see what kind of happens there. And I think one of the questions that I keep hearing people ask is, will this be a replacement for Power Automate, right? Or will it integrate with Power Automate? And I think it's the latter. What do
Yeah.
you think, Chris?
I think 100% is that this is what's going to kick into Power Automate, and then
Mm-hmm.
Power Automate do something there, right?
Yeah. So just kind of think about how they could maybe bring it to market quicker, right? Is if the next thing that they add is your custom action is to kick off a Power Automate and you're giving it certain parameters. Well, they're not having to rewrite all the connectors and everything that they already have in Power Automate. I suspect, and again, I know nothing, that from Microsoft or anything about this, but I suspect that would be probably one of their next actions, because that opens up the world to them. And then you do your Power Automate for everything else, and it's using both tools. I think it'll be fabulous, because that's what you're going to really want.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it go into Power Automate, but I would also expect that we're going to see a lot of additional features and a lot of additional integration points come here, because I know for a fact Microsoft is making it, because they've said it publicly, they've said it often. They're making a big push to ensure that Fabric remains open as much as humanly possible with the open source or third party vendors and integrations, right? So,
Okay, can you go back to my screen real quick?
yeah.
So I just clicked on this custom actions up on the
Mm-hmm.
toolbar,
Yeah.
create.
Oh, can you zoom in on that?
Yep. Maybe zoom.
There it is.
Right. So that's why
Yeah.
it just wasn't there already, but it looks like we could already do Power Automate, the trigger Power Automate flow. And
Oh,
then
that's awesome.
by defining your own custom action, once you define it, then it will show up down in your send thing. So you that's not part of the learning path yet, but yeah. So we'll have to explore this part just a little bit more. But there you go.
Yeah. And so yeah, we're going to see that automate come into play. There's no doubt about it. But I guess the 2 points I was going to make is that, or 2 points, the 2 points I'm going to make, or the 3 big integrations. I think they're going to have Power Automate, which currently they do, I guess. They're going to make sure that it's API driven or enabled, so that you can integrate it with anything downstream. And then number one, I think the biggest thing that they want to also make sure that they do is make sure that this is a valuable feature and product offering inside of Fabric without having to purchase Power Automate, right? So Power Automate is an additional expense. Maybe you don't necessarily have this. They want to make sure that it's still a valid thing for people to use and work with, without having Power Automate on the side, right? So clearly it's going to integrate with Power Automate, because we're seeing Kevin create the first demo of that right here. And this is live development. So let's see here
Oh,
how
cool.
this goes. Yeah.
So when data activator trigger fires, so I had to copy a string that it provided me in that previous dialogue. Isn't there update row? It doesn't really matter. I can just say whatever. Gotta give it way too many things. But if you wanted to come through here, figure out everything, if you had it all set up, you knew, I don't know Power Automate all that well. I'm sure I could come up here and this is just going to be some file name or whatever that I have to navigate to.
Yeah.
And I could update a row in a spreadsheet. I was hoping to just add that row or whatever, but you can walk through all these steps. I think I know what else I'm going to be looking at here soon. So pretty cool.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is, like I said, I think this is one of the most transformative features that Microsoft Fabric is adding. I love Fabric because it brings together all of your data tools. So if you need to be creating a column, you can create it with SQL. You can create it with Python.
Mm-hmm.
You can create it with Power Query. There's no longer a need for DAX columns. Get rid of that garbage. Cut it all out. Done with it. Hashtag no DAX columns. But not only can you do whatever you need to do inside your data, but now you can get it so you're programmatically taking action. And that next step, that what does this mean? You can now program that in, and you can make sure people are this means people can also review it and talk about it. Like, what are the right next steps? Is it right to fire people over this KPI, or is it right to hire people when some people go on this KPI? Right? You get people to have that conversation, and then once they vet it out, they can program it in, and we're off to the races. Right? So I love it.
Did you just freeze? Okay, I don't know if it's me only. Let me go back up. Let me look at my YouTube side, see if I'm talking. I think Chris froze. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so Chris froze. I'm here all by myself. No worries. On my view, Chris just totally went away. So I think we'll just keep talking. Thanks, Ahmed. I think from here we're just gonna wrap up. I hope everybody has a great week, and thank you everybody for joining. Make sure you hit the like button. Have any comments, please leave them down below and we'll try to respond. But with that, I'm going to say peace and then leave. And I don't know what's going to happen to.
Baker Tilly Digital combines strategic industry insight and advanced technical expertise to uncover and solve your digital transformation challenges. If you're interested in learning more, check out our website at bakertilly.com/digital.